Is history about to repeat itself? What was the main reason for Germany to invade Poland and France, which started the Second World War? In fact, the invasion of Poland started the Second World War. If you have to go back and look at the timeline then, in 1939, there was an important pact that was signed, a Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, and that was signed in Moscow. By that time, Russia had become Soviet Union. It had started annexing property. And on September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland from the east and the north, and from the south, the Slovak Republic, that is Slovakian Republic, or what is today Slovakian Republic, they invaded from the south into Poland. 16 days later, on 17 September, Soviet Union invaded Poland from the west. So within about 2 weeks' time, they basically cut up the whole thing, and from there on, Second World War started. Until 1941, Germany and Soviet Union were partners, and then Germany turned on Soviet Union. Well, what led up to all this? Remember, Hitler came to power in 1933, and in 1933, Germany was completely bankrupt. Let's take action from there, because by the time you see the end of this monologue, you'll understand why I'm saying that history is about to repeat itself, because I think that these talks are not going to be conclusive. I don't think Ukraine is going to agree. Somehow they'll try to weasel out of it. But the big deal here is that United States might get out of Ukraine and just say, you are on your own. They may actually follow through on their threat, and then things can get really interesting. So let's go back in history and see what happened during Second World War, or what led up to the Second World War. A small infographic, a request as always to please like this video. If you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Here we go.
Who was Parashurama, who led a life of devotion, dedication and daring? Why did he take birth on the earth? Was it to eradicate corrupt Kshatriya rulers who had become tyrannical and oppressive, or was it to bestow daya for the needy?
So let's take a look at what happened in 1933. When the Nazis took power, Germany was economically shattered. They had no gold reserves and massive unemployment. And you can say that, well, after the reparations of First World War, Germany was practically brought down to its knees by the victors, that is the British Empire and the French Empire, and therefore they had no other option but to do what they did after that. But let's just keep in mind that there was a new scheme that the Germans conjured, and that's what we're going to talk about. The unemployment rate in 1933 was 30% and zero hard currency reserves. How can a country run and become the biggest, mightiest army in just 6 years? By 1939, Germany had the most powerful army in the whole world. How did that happen? Well, here is what happened. The magic money. I think it is Hjalmar Schacht, central banker, invented a shadow currency called Mefo Bills to fund rearmament of the books. First, a ghost company called Mefo GmbH was started, and it had no assets. There was an IOU. Instead of paying tank manufacturers with cash, which the Nazis did not have, they paid with Mefo bills, which were IOUs. The promise was that banks accepted these bills because the government secretly guaranteed that they could be exchanged for real marks in 5 years. 1933 on, they signed this thing. So by the end of 1938, all these things, these IOUs came due. So why did the war start in 1939? Because Germany had no money to pay all the banks and all the tank manufacturers and all the weaponry manufacturers. So what did they do? They started a war. The economic Ponzi scheme was collapsing, and the bills had come due, and Germany had no cash to pay them back. Problem B was there was also a resource crisis. Germany had ran out of foreign currency to buy rubber and oil. Factories were days away from stopping. There is a lot of interesting sub-stories here. We need to look at, if they didn't have any money in 1933, then how did they get foreign currency to pay for rubber and oil by 1939? Were they exporting? What were they doing? Well, it is believed that some influential bankers from Europe as well as in the United States had secretly helped Hitler and the Nazis. Take a look at history, go back and look at it, you will understand what I'm saying. I need to do more research on it, but this is the story. That's how somehow Germany was kept afloat. The only solution after that, because they had to distract the people of Germany, was war. Hitler had to invade neighbors Poland and France to steal their gold reserves and raw materials to keep the machines running. Then what happened, you all know, in 1941, Hitler turned on Russia, and that was the beginning of his defeat because Russians allowed him to come in, and then winter took over, and then there was a massive retreat from Germany. They had to retreat. They had no option. Supply lines were collapsing and people were dying on the streets of St. Petersburg and so on. You can read the history for that. Then from that point forward, Germany was always on the back foot. In fact, it is believed that if you look at the scenario in 1945, if you think of three portions of Germany, one portion was defending itself against the might of the allied forces such as France, Great Britain, and United States. On the other side, 2/3 was defending itself against Soviet Union. By the way, the Czech Republic was part of Germany at that point of time. Poland got messed up, and you will see now also that they are still again eyeing Poland, because Poland as a construct was something that has been changing since probably last 150 years. I feel bad for the Polish people. There has been a lot of ethnic cleansing also that took place. Some of that is also reflected in Ukraine even today. Be that as it may, let's get to the main point. Is history about to repeat itself? Why do I say that? Because many of the West European economies, such as United Kingdom, such as France, Germany, they are all getting to a point where they don't have enough money coming in to pay the standard things that they need to pay, like, for example, pensions or other routine expenditure stuff. They thought that they could bring in cheap labor and that will reduce the cost of manufacturing, but they made one fatal mistake in that they did not understand that people who will just come in with no skills whatsoever, many of them had not left beyond 10 kilometers of where they lived, and all these people now suddenly have become a burden on their own society. So instead of trying to get cheap labor to do their task for them, now they are stuck with the bill of supporting them, and this is a very unhealthy cocktail. So let's wait and see how this plays out. I have a feeling that this too shall pass. Nothing will happen. Of course, Trump is a little bit of a maverick in that the West doesn't know how he will react. But if not, you can go back and take a look at what I said. Today's Germany is NATO forces without United States, and today's Poland/France is Russia. What a sweet irony, right? Russia was on the other side in the Second World War. Now it finds itself defending itself from the rest of the NATO forces. Is this going to happen? I hope not. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.